Over the past few months, parents and students and educators have been generating ideas for Boston's high schools of the future. Among those contributing were students in Youth Design, a mentoring program that puts students on a career path in the design profession. Among those working with them is our guest, who's a principal with Cause Consulting. We'd like to welcome Nikki Korn. Thank you very much for being with us, Nikki.
Great to be here.
I want to start with just how much you can expect from a high school student. You know, most of us, we only go to high school once, so it mustn't be easy to think of how you do it differently.
Right. Well, our firm is passionate about the youth voice and how young people can really make a difference in social issues. And so when you think about education, who better to engage than young people? So for us, we have high expectations for young people, and we also believe students are the best voice to contribute to a conversation around the high school of the future. And so in our work, where we connect business and all sorts of sectors to issues like education, to us, the youth voice is an important part of that dialogue.
So how do you start the conversation?
For us, it's a lot about visioning, just like any of us. And when you think about the high school of the future, and as you know, we engaged with the Chief of Education, Ron Dorsey, in this project, which is called Youth Designers Take Action. We envision the high school building without walls. And so we started the students in a half-day working session where they close their eyes and see high school without any walls, and think about the opportunities that exist in the city, the people, the professions, the innovation, the learning that's happening, and envision what could the learning experience look like and how could that be different. So brainstorming is the answer. We start with brainstorming. We start with, I wish that my learning experience could have more technology, was one answer we got. I wish that my high school experience could connect me to more professionals in Boston. And so we started with visioning, and I'm happy to explain the rest of the 4-hour dialogue.
Well, talk about the part with contact with other professionals. What would that mean?
So in our work, where we connect businesses with social issues, one of the big things, if you talk to employees of all ages, especially millennials, is they're passionate about being connected to the community. They want to get outside of their own desks, outside of their own jobs, and also share their experiences. So businesses love to reach and connect with young people. So it's everything from visiting high schools, or more importantly, getting students to come into businesses and see and understand, or nonprofits, and experience those professions. Understand, how does calculus apply to the real world? How does English and learning how to write well apply to a job in the healthcare profession? And so opening students' eyes to the connection to the real world and to meet people like you, Chris. How could I be in the broadcast world? We believe is a really empowering way to help see a pathway as a high school student, which is often hard.
Well, it also, I think, matters with what we've called school engagement. I mean, you're
Right.
not going to be motivated to go to high school just because there's more high school to go to.
Exactly. So in my personal career, I've spent a lot of time traveling the States and the world, looking at education, understanding classroom experiences, working with all sorts of industries and nonprofits. And my observation is the more that students help inform the experience, they shouldn't drive it, but be a part of how to inform and work with educators about how they want to learn, even sharing their ideas about how problems in their neighborhood can help them create solutions and then apply that learning. So for example, technology. About 10 years ago, I helped create a program called Adobe Youth Voices, which helps connect kids to critical issues they care about and spend the school year applying technology and communication skills to create a piece of media. That's the same process that Youth Design is also incorporating into their experience here in Boston.
There's another part of the achievement gap that I know City Councilor Tito Jackson has been very concerned about, and that's that almost huge bridge between the population in the Boston schools and the population at our world-class colleges and universities. How do you bridge that? How do these kids want to bridge it?
Yeah, I think, if you look at let's just take the cohort of youth design students who come out of Boston public high schools, 100% of them go on to college. And yes, they are a segment of the student population here, but they themselves just need additional relationships, coaching, even inspiration. And in my opinion, a lot of that comes in and outside of the classroom for them to achieve greatness. And it's just that little bit of additional coaching, a little bit of that additional knowing where they're headed. I think a lot of the students, when you sit with them, they're not sure where they're going. So just like in your career personally, if you don't know what your next step is, it's hard to be inspired. So a lot of my personal learning in this field has been around really understanding what those next steps are. Everyone talks about the pathway, but you need to know the incremental steps on that path.
So speaking of pathways, what's next for this effort?
So the students participated in a half-day workshop. They came up with great ideas. They presented to Ron Dorsey and his team, who were really great and collaborative and really engaged. There will be some follow-up meetings in the city. Some of the students have raised their hands by choice to continue to participate. And then a significant percentage of them are participating in a competition where they're creating a public service advertising poster, picking a specific opportunity and sharing their message and call to action with an audience in Boston around how they want them to be a part of the high school of the future. And those will be unveiled at the end of August.
Okay, thank you very much for being with us.
Great.
Nikki Korn from Cause Consulting.